Well, hello everybody. Happy shenanigans. Saturday. Today, welcome to the Maddie Show. As you know, I mostly scrapbook my beautiful daughter. So that is one of the most current pictures she sent me, and it's adorable. Now, when I printed this, I actually, before I printed, I shrunk it a little bit because a lot of times if her face or her head is at the very top of the photo and I print it on the selfie, it cuts that piece off. It cuts a little bit of the top of the photo off. So I shrunk it a bit, and then in doing so, I gave myself a white border, and then I kept a thicker one on the bottom, kind of like Polaroid style. So I am gonna leave that little piece of white around it. Usually I would cut that off, but in this case I'm not. I have this very cool piece of paper. I have no idea where it came from. It just, the colors just sort of went with what I was doing. Now, originally I had a peach piece of paper, but too much peach because she's, you know, in all those trees. So I found a very cool teal piece of paper. So don't ask me where it's from, but use your scraps. That's my tip for today. use that old paper, get it out, all that basic gray and all those lovely companies that we don't have anymore that we're saving the paper. Use it. And then at least you'll get to see it in the books. Okay, so let's turn this around. There is my messy desk. Okay, I'm using a whole bunch of little bits and pieces of stuff that I found around. Like I had this scrap piece on my desk and I thought, I can use that. And I just noticed I have this little pile of blue hearts that were from one of my make and takes that I had to cut out, and these hearts were cut out. So I might sprinkle those around. I just noticed them and they're kind of a cool color. So, all right, the first thing I'm going to do is mat this. So I already found a teal piece that will go with it. I can't remember if I'm tucking, so I'll put my adhesive into the center because at the moment, my memory fails me. All right, so there's my first piece. Now I'm going to cut where this girl is. It's hard to see, but there's a shadow. There's like a drawing and then a white drawing over top of it like a shadow. So I wanted to tuck this in here just a bit. I don't want to cover her photo, but that's I think where I want to start. And then I have this again, scraps on my desk. The colors just happen to work. So I think I want this here. But first I have to place this one and see where this is going to go. I'm going to ink the edge with Victorian Velvet. And oops, my brushes are falling off their base. If you got let me just show you here. If you got the brush holder stand from me, the one that holds all those brushes, I found this at the dollar store. So now it swivels. I can't remember what section it was in. It was part of something else and I just broke the base off of it, but it works quite well now. I can tuck it into a small corner and then, all right, I don't actually have the color set up that would work for this, so I'm just going to use a new brush. I love these little brushes. A lot of times they come into play when I need to do something in a small area. So I have big brushes and little brushes, and I just started. I got another set because there's a couple of colors that were just not in any other frame that were even close to use. So Victorian Velvet is one of those. Okay, now I've got my border done. And what I wanted to do was somehow, I don't want to see the pink through that, and I want to see this tear. And I do have a word, fashion. Yeah, that's okay. I can move this down. No, actually, that's perfect where it is. Okay. So, first things first, let's glue this pink piece down, right about there. See if I can remember where that went. It's the second one, I think. I can move it if need be in a pinch. My banner. And this has to go, actually, let's just put some, again, I can't remember if I'm doing anything. I know I'm tucking stuff, I just can't remember how much. And I'm going just up to her hand. I don't want to cover any of her in the photo. And then this, I just want it to be so I don't see any pink underneath it. Okay, and then fashion can go right there to cover that. These were all a piece of that pack. You had to cut them all out. It's like the cover sheet. Okay, so fashion. So I just wanted to make sure I could see that the torn edge, and no pink between the peak. That was my goal in layering that. Now, my last page layout of the month, I found these gorgeous little lacy leaves, and I used them on my page, and I had a couple left over. So what I'm going to do is use them on this page also. Okay, so I have 5, 6, 7 left over here. So I'm going to do 3. And I'm just going to put a bit of glue and tuck those under, and then I'll decide where else to glue them down. So I'm just going to put some glue behind here. So as you can tell, it is my goal lately to use up stuff that has been kicking around for who knows how long. Okay, so I've got those 3 little leaves, and then I've got 2 more. I'm just going to glue them underneath there. So I think for the moment I'm just going to glue the stem until I figure out what else is happening with these. Okay, so I've got a layer of 3 and then a layer of 2. Okay, so I will tack those down once everything else is in place. And then I had 3 that I was going to put up here. Again, I can just put a little bit of glue underneath there and spread these out. They're so cool. I don't even know what they're from or how old they are. Ancient. So now I'm very happy. I've used them. I've shared them with my page layouts, and I've got a few left over for me. Okay, then I found this cool rhinestone border. I'm going to put that right on the corner. But I also have this, You Are Beautiful, and it's got the teal and the peaches, and of course Maddie is beautiful, so I have to put that on here. So I think I'm going to tuck that between the 2 matte layers. I was going to do it between the photo. Actually, I think I do like it between the photo because I have that little white border around the photo. That'll work. So sometimes I'll tuck things into the other layers. Like if I have a 3-layer matte, I can tuck something under the first layer and under the second layer and under the photo. So just to give it a little bit more layerability. How's that? Okay, now I want this on the corner. So I don't want to cover any of the words. So I can bring that down as far as that. All right. Just glue that in there. Photo, and then just make sure. Don't want to cover beautiful. Okay, I can tuck that in and then place this. This one should come off fairly. I still have quite a few of these shaped rhinestones that were old Kaisercraft. And so far it's still very sticky, so we'll go with that. And I want it right on the corner. Haha, don't stick to me. Corner of the, oh no, almost. There we go. Okay, and then that one, and oops, just over a little bit. And I didn't cover any words. You are beautiful. So there we go. Okay, then I have this little, oh, it makes me excited makes me very happy to get rid of those old ones. I have this little circle. It was just another one that I cut out from the packaging. And this one I'm going to tuck. I think I'm going to tuck it right there. No, maybe here. Yeah, I was going to try and cover the center of that, the leaves, but it doesn't actually have to be, so I'm just going to glue that in right there because I don't want to cover any of the bird. Okay, and now I think just along the stem here, I'm going to put a little bit of glue. That should just hold them in place, but not make it obvious that they're glued in there. I can't even tell you what these are made out of. They feel like they're fabric, but they're so fine and they're see-through, which is so cool. I can put them on my my page of the month. I put them over top of something because I need to be able to see through them. And I was going to do some stamping just scattered around, like typecast type of thing. But this paper is really shiny, if you remember how the paper for Wild Whisper was. So I'm afraid that I'd have to use Stays-On because it's so shiny and slippery. And I don't really have good colors in Stays-On. So I skipped that. And I was also going to write Love This down here. And I had to test a bunch of pens to make sure it wasn't going to bleed or rub off. So I tested it overnight. This one worked, but there's no room. So, because I really wanted that tucked underneath there. So that was my goal. And here we go. Let's turn this around. There is my lovely little girl. So, few embellishments tucked around, and then those cool leaves that are just sort of lacy and pretty. And there's see the shadow, the girl, and then the white shadow. And Maddie has a shadow, so you know, you need the shadow. So there we go. That's today's page. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Ciao.